We are going to use a couple different things today to get a lab done, and I want to show you guys how to do that real quick. First, we are going to be using video physics to do some analysis of a pendulum motion, and the first thing we need to do is get our settings set up to do that. Okay? And that's actually in the iPad settings. So if you come to the settings in your iPad, we want to change the settings on video physics. Okay? We want to change the frame advance rate, and I think the default is 1. We want that to be 5. So put that to 5, push return, everything's good. Home button. Then go ahead and open eBackpack. Okay? And eBackpack actually has your lab and everything in it today. Okay? And so I'm in this folder, shared class and group files for physics, third period physics, and what did I do? Put it in the wrong spot? Okay, I'll get it in the right spot. Third period physics, and then pendulum motion. This PDF file is your lab. Okay, and this is actually the analysis we're going to do. So open the lab first, and you can just use the little sharing arrow down here to open that in Notability. And there will be a couple questions you can answer. You can write right on this note. Okay, and then you can turn it back in when you're done. And no paper today. Okay, so you go through, do that, and then data acquisition is actually from a video. So it says, okay, now we're ready to analyze the video after you've changed your settings. So we go back into eBackpack and grab this video, okay? And down at the bottom we can use this arrow to open this note in video physics. Now you guys should have this app. Now the way this app works, you just drag those crosshairs around with your finger, and then when you have them where you want them, you tap and it keeps the point. Tap and it keeps the point, and then it advances the frame. So it lets us track the position of this object through time. Okay? And you want to do this for the duration of the video. So it's going to take you a while, but it's only a 12-second video. So this gives you enough points you can do some analysis on. And then we're actually going to use another app to do the analysis. Now, up in the top right, you can go ahead and look at some graphs, but Graphical Analysis will actually let us do some things on that. That was not what I meant to do. Okay, so what we want then is we use this arrow right here to open this data in Graphical Analysis. Okay, and it'll bring it in, and since I only have like 2 points, there's not a lot to see here, but I did do this earlier so that we could take a look at it, and so I'm going to pull that open. You'll notice I only have one graph being shown, and I've got some information in there. Okay, the way you can do that, up in the top left there's this graph button, and that decides what you're looking at. I want to look at one graph, so I choose one graph. I want to make sure I'm looking at the period of the pendulum, the motion of the pendulum. Okay, so when I click the y-axis over here, there's a list of things I can pick. I can pick the x position, the y position, the x velocity, or the y velocity. Well, I'm interested in the motion of the pendulum, not in the speed of the pendulum, its position. And this is a left and right or horizontal motion, so I'm looking at the x position. Okay, so I choose x position, and then my graph comes back, and now I can do some analysis on this. Now I need you to find the period of the motion. Remember, period is the time for one complete cycle. Okay, but if we use more than one cycle, then we can get an average. So I'm going to choose complete cycle, and you'll notice I started at a minimum and ended at a minimum, because 1 cycle, 2 cycles, 3 cycles, 4 cycles, 5 cycles. Okay? And then you can tap inside that selection, turn on statistics, and add that, and then over here it'll tell you a whole bunch of information about it. What we're primarily interested in is how long did it take for these 5 cycles to complete, and I can see it took 9.167 seconds. For my data, yours might be a little bit different. If you all three do it, you could probably average them all together and get an even better result. Okay, so then you can use this information to answer the questions in the lab. Last thing to do, it says, is to actually put this information into your lab. So if you grab this little arrow up in the top right, you can say, alright, export the graphs to the camera roll, okay? And then in Notability, okay, where you have this lab, it says insert a graph. So then the plus up in the right, grab the photos, camera roll, okay, that lab, put this picture in, you can resize it so we can see some stuff on it, whatever, and then get all the information you need to answer these questions. It should be a pretty straightforward lab. Good luck.